So last episode, I chatted with you about how podcast guesting has evolved. And today, we're talking about another evolution, the evolution of the Go Pitch Yourself podcast. Things are changing, my friend. The name, the focus, and the format, all of them will be different on our next episode. Want to hear the details? Let's do this. Hey there, pitches. Thanks for tuning in to the last episode of Go Pitch Yourself. Just kidding. Kind of. All right, let me get the formalities out of the way and I will share all the details with you. As I was saying, I am your host, Angie Trueblood, a podcast guesting and hosting expert and founder of the Podwize Group, a concierge podcast interview booking agency. If you are an OG listener, hello, my friend. I think you're going to love the direction that we're headed in, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. All right, let's get into it. First off, you might be wondering why the change, Angie. So if you'll remember, back in January of 2023, we nixed all of the pitching educational programs that we had offered. We said goodbye to the Podwize Co-op, which was a membership. I archived the remnants of the Go Pitch Yourself course, and I did this so that I could focus on building the client side of the Podwize Group. And great news, it was the best decision that I've made in my business to date, even though it got a little hairy those first couple of months. We are busier and stronger than ever, which I am super grateful for. And as you also likely know, I took a bit of a hiatus on the podcast over the summer and offered some replays of our best episodes, primarily because there was something that was just feeling a little off with me about the show. I thought it was that I just didn't have the time that I needed to commit over a busy summer. But shockingly, when time became available again over the last couple of weeks, I still found myself cranking out recordings the day of, which is something I've never really struggled with before. So I gave myself some space to reimagine a podcast that could be part of our business. And I even let myself imagine not having a podcast, which I did not like. And the new direction hit me like a ton of bricks. And the wherewithal, the purpose, and why these changes were necessary also became really evident. So Go Pitch Yourself as a podcast is no longer aligned with the direction that we as a company are moving in. Literally, the name Go Pitch Yourself is the opposite of what I want you to do. I want you to hire us, unless we're not a good fit, in which case I do want you to go pitch yourself, let's be honest. But I think that makes sense, right? We are not an educational platform any longer. We are a done-for-you service provider. And telling you to go pitch yourself doesn't really do justice to the work that we do when we pitch our clients. So I thought on it. I took into consideration all the different podcast ideas that I've had over the years, and there are a lot of them. And I recognize that the common theme is they're all story-based and they are all focused on taking a behind-the-scenes peek into other people's businesses and lives, like really getting into the nitty-gritty. I also recognize that it's time for me to establish myself as a thought leader in a broader sense than simply sharing how-to information. I really have an opportunity now to use my platform, to use our reputation to connect with a larger variety of people that can offer even more unique experiences and perspectives that are helpful to you, the listener, who is likely still interested in pitching themselves. But you can glean tips and tricks on pitching most anywhere. What I can bring you through my connections and the people that I respect is a deeper knowledge of what does pitching actually look like? What does asking someone else for a collaboration actually entail? Now, while we are switching a little towards that story-based approach, what I have said thousands of times before remains true. Gone are the days where someone can just host a business podcast where they interview business owners that tell their story of building a business and expect it to be a raving success. We are not doing that. I'm doing something far more specific and niched and juicy than that, my friend. So, introducing Pitched, the podcast that shares real stories of pitching bold ideas. And the beauty of this is we are not launching an entirely new podcast. We are just changing the name of this show and the focus. I wrote out a new description for the podcast to replace the old one. So I thought we could use this time for it to almost be like a trailer episode where you get a really interesting sense of what we will be talking about. So here goes. Please be kind to me. Pitched. Real stories of pitching bold ideas. Pitched is the podcast that shares the unfiltered stories of our guests pitching their boldest ideas. Whether they sealed the deal or crashed and burned, our guests bear it all, offering valuable insights into the art of persuasion and resilience in the world of business and everyday life. Tune in for a raw and unscripted journey through the highs, lows, and lessons learned from people who dare to not only dream big, but pitch big. What do you think? Eek! I feel like I'm birthing something new into the world. I'm so nervous to get your feedback, and I really do want it. So a couple of questions. You might be wondering, is this an entirely new show, a new feed? How can I listen to it? What's happening to Go Pitch Yourself? Here's the deal. All of the Go Pitch Yourself episodes will remain in this feed. Starting October 24th, you will see the new artwork in your podcast library as long as you follow along, and you'll get the first listen of the new format and focus. But Angie, how will we get all the podcast guesting info that we have come to love you for? So it will still be there. It will be in the feed. And also, I am creating segmented Spotify playlists, and I'm going to add a couple of tweaks to the website so that the shows can be more searchable by the topics that they cover. But you'll have the playlist where you can listen to bunches of episodes that focus on specific topics. And I will share all of that with you on the next episode. I need to figure out kind of the best way to organize this library of information so that it is most consumable and most organized for you. So I'm thinking a Spotify playlist, several of them organized by topic, like general topic category, and then also segmenting the episodes on our website so that you can say, okay, I want to see all of the episodes that have been on actual pitching, right? So that's another way that you will have access to that information. I'll also share with you that even though we are going to be telling stories instead of the official how-to type episodes that you've come to know and love, in each episode, you will get real-world insight into pitching, whether it's pitching for a podcast interview, pitching for a sponsor, an opportunity to be on a reality show, which is something I really want to have on here, pitching for funding for your company, you name it, we're going to be covering it. And then I will be relating that back to how pitching is pitching. No matter if you're pitching for something in business and what you pitch for is totally different than when someone else pitches for, there's all interwoven themes, and we're going to pull those out, which I think is going to be super helpful, and will really demonstrate the core pieces of good pitching. And from time to time, I will be offering bonus episodes. They will be solo episodes where I will be tackling podcast pitching and guesting more specifically, updating you on the state of podcast guesting as I did last episode. So you will not be without someone to help you in this space. We're just kind of expanding the way that we are sharing what pitching is. So another question about the format is, will you still be hosting the Podcast Love of the Week segments? Yeah, that's a really popular segment. And candidly, my favorite way to find new podcasts to listen to is when hosts I love share the shows they love. So I'm going to do you a solid and keep that party going. And if you have a show that you would like me to share send it my way, please, on LinkedIn. I'm over there at Angie Trueblood. Connect with me, tell me why you're connecting, and then shoot me a favorite show of yours to share with our listeners. Okay, I think that's it. I'm sure there are questions that you might have. Again, send them my way on LinkedIn. I will tackle them, I promise. I'm going to hop off and go record some interviews for Pitched, my new podcast. And I am so excited to be able to share them with you. So in the meantime, you have 2 weeks, right, to just be dying to hear the new show. Go ahead and follow this show. So wherever you are listening right now to Go Pitch Yourself as it stands, go in your podcast player, hit follow. That's what most of the players will say. Some may say subscribe. Hit that button so that when we rebrand and come back to you as Pitched, you will see that and be able to download the first episode immediately. All right? Until then, be well and be visible. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Go Pitch Yourself. If you found this episode to be helpful, friend, you would be blown away by what we can accomplish together. Here are 2 next best steps. 1, be sure to sign up for our bi-weekly newsletter. That is twice a month, if that term confuses you as much as it does me. Each week that our episodes drop, I send an action-focused email, including an insider tip of the week based on the work that we do behind the scenes in our clients' business. For example, a recent tip of the week included how to estimate how large a podcast audience is. To get access to this exclusive content, pop on over to thepodwizegroup.com/pitches and sign up. As a special thank you, you'll get your first insider tip of the week as access to 6 pitches my team and I have sent that were accepted, including the core components of any great pitch. Number 2, schedule a call with me to figure out which of our services, if any, would be a good fit for you. We have a variety of ways to support you and your team in helping grow your business through podcast guesting, and I am pretty skilled at helping identify pain points and solutions. Hop over to thepodwizegroup.com/services and grab a spot on my calendar at the bottom of the page.